Hey guys, Eric here, and today we're going to talk about the inspection process. I want to preface this by saying this is a bit of a hard video to put together. It's really, really long. There's not any screen sharing or whatnot, so I apologize in advance if I stumble or anything like that. So the problem we're trying to solve here is a question that we used to get once or twice a year from generally newer agents that would call and say, "Oh my gosh, what do I do here? We have a place under contract that my clients really love, but they just had the inspection and they want to get everything on the report fixed, and the property's 50 years old or something like that. And I'm afraid that the contract is not going to stick, and they're going to lose this house that they really love." So what we always tell our agents now is the best time to start talking with your clients about the inspection is after you've built a great rapport with them, and when you're showing them houses well in advance of whenever an actual inspection will be performed. And you do this to set expectations to make sure that they will be able to make it through the inspection, and that they have a great experience in doing so, and that they have the highest likelihood of getting a fair deal and not losing out excuse me, on a great house. So when you're showing your clients homes, and again, after they trust you and you like them and whatnot, it's an awesome question to just ask them at any property. Hey, what do you guys know about the inspection process? And if they're from out of state, or they've never bought a home in Texas before, you can explain the option period to them. That's pretty unique to Texas. And then you can talk to them about the inspection. And you can start setting expectations, and you can set expectations as to what the sellers are advertising and what they should expect based on that. And the best way I can explain this is by giving two sort of extreme examples. If a buyer's buying a brand new property, then they should expect a brand new property, right? They should get almost everything on the inspection report. If a buyer's buying a 70-year-old home that's advertised as in original condition or distressed or something like that, they should expect the inspection report, quite frankly, to be a disaster. And the reason for that is that inspectors inspect based on current year code. So if you have a house that was built in the 50s and you're inspecting based on current year code, almost every system is going to fail. And it's very important that they understand that going into that. Now, somewhere in the middle, right? Like they're buying a 70-year-old house that's been updated. They should expect it to be updated. It's important to scrutinize systems, things like that. They have a 5-year-old home. They should expect it to be in very good condition, but probably not quite perfect. Somebody's lived in the home for 5 years or so. When you're setting expectations, it's really, really important for you, the agent, to be really good at predicting what problems are going to come up on any given home based on the age of the home. And we have a handy informational that you can look at, and it's really great for you to read that, know it, almost memorize it, and then talk to your clients about it. So great example here. You're looking at a property that is 15 years old, in pretty good shape. But we know that air conditioners last between 15 and 20 years. And we also know that hot water heaters usually last around 10 years. So you can tell your client that, hey, the property's probably going to be in great shape, but it's important that we look at the seller's disclosure to see if they've replaced an AC. It's important for us to look at the air conditioner maybe, and just for you to know that this expensive system might be coming up to the end of its life. So it's also important for you to set the expectation for your clients as to what a seller is going to fix. And generally speaking, any seller will fix or give a credit to fix the least amount that they possibly can without losing the deal, or at a point that they feel like the buyer is becoming unreasonable. And that word unreasonable is super duper important, because a question that you'll get, which is a very reasonable question from somebody who's never been through the process before, why don't we just ask for everything and then see what they come back with? And the consequence of doing that is that a seller oftentimes, I would say quite often, will clam up and say, oh my gosh, the house is only 10 years old and they sent me back literally every item on the inspection. That's not reasonable. And when they decide that you're not reasonable, they just stop negotiating. And now you're on your heels, and you will likely get less than you would have if you would have brought a fair request to them. And when you explain that to your clients, they start thinking about it, and they're thinking about it well in advance, right? So after your clients have picked out a property that they love and they're probably going to make an offer on it or might make an offer on it, and you've set all these awesome expectations, you want to go through the seller's disclosure with them. 9 times out of 10, the seller's disclosure will be listed on the MLS, or you can get it from the listing agent prior to making any offer. And there's really important information there. A lot of times they'll list how old the roof is. We know that roofs are going to last 20 to 30 years. It's also very expensive. They'll list if there are any major repairs. If you're buying a really old property and they've not listed that they've replaced major systems, then you can safely assume that those will not inspect well. So look over the seller's disclosure with your clients, make sure that they've looked at it and that they understand how important that is. So fast forward, you have a great place under contract, you've set all these awesome expectations, you've looked over the seller's disclosure well in advance, they've signed it, and you're under contract. And now it's time to schedule the inspection. Whenever you schedule the inspection, you need to make sure that your clients and you can walk through the house with the inspector. Schedule an hour to do so after the inspector's completed the inspection, and make sure that you're there with your clients. This is absolutely critical. The easiest way to cause massive headache for your clients and do a bad job for them is to just send an inspector in and then deal with the report after the report comes back. So not only will your clients have a bad experience if you do it that way, if you're not present and you just wait for the report, there's also a much higher likelihood that the deal won't stay together because your clients don't have any context on this report. When you have the inspection walkthrough scheduled, get there 10 minutes early. The inspector is going to be wrapping up. You can chat with them. You'll know about any major issues ahead of time. So if there is a major issue, you can already thinking about it and how you're going to talk to your clients about it. I generally ask 3 questions anytime I walk in, 10 minutes early for an inspection walkthrough. And the 3 questions I ask are, how's the foundation? How is the roof? How's the air conditioner? Foundation's a deal killer. If the foundation is bad or needs to be inspected more, you guys have some things you need to work through. Air conditioner and roof are the most common, very expensive systems that need to be replaced. I mean, a roof can be $10,000, give or take, probably closer to 15 now. Air conditioner is going to be 8 to 12, depending per unit. So these are big ticket items. And I know that if those items are all in good shape, more than likely we're going to be able to work through whatever else we would need to work through. Clients come, chat with them, introduce them to the inspector and whatnot. And then your inspector takes 30, 45 minutes walking them through the house, explaining everything that they've found. And you're there and you brought a notebook and you're taking notes as you go. Whenever you're finished with the walkthrough, ask a few questions of the inspector that are really, really critical. How does this home compare with other homes in the area? So it's going to provide perspective as to the condition of this property with other properties in the neighborhood. The magic question, if this were your home, what would you be concerned about? And the reason we ask that is it is the best way to learn from the inspector what the important things are. We all know that inspections, we're going to have a laundry list of things, right? You can't get everything because you're not buying a brand new house unless you're buying a brand new house. So what's important? And whenever your inspector answers that question, write it down, chat with your clients about it. Your inspector leaves. I generally hang out. I talk with my clients about this. And then we say something like, okay, guys, well, look, great seeing you. We're going to wait for the inspector to send the report over so we can all look it over and make sure we're comfortable with everything. But I made some notes on, what he said was important. And then we reiterate all of that. So we're kind of isolating what's important. And you'll know most of your clients will say, okay, yeah, and they agree. This is a great process. They now know what's important. When I leave, I almost always call the listing agent and I say, hey, listing agent, 1 of 2 things, or maybe 1 of 3. Inspection went great. We're going to have a few things we need to work through, but I feel really good about everything. Inspection went pretty good. There's going to be some ticket items that we're going to need to work through, but I feel pretty good about it. Just wait for it. And you can kind of even tell them what items they are. Or bad inspection, right? Hey, listing agent, I wanted you to know we're leaving the house right now. We just left, and there are some major items that we're going to have to work through. Needs a new roof, needs a new air conditioner, foundation's messed up, whatever it might be. There's some really big ticket items that we need to work through. And the reason you do this is because it allows the listing agent to set expectations with their client. And if there is something, pretty hard, it'll allow them to start processing and thinking about what, they're going to do. It's a professional courtesy as well. Really not a great strategy to just dump a really heavy amendment on a listing agent without any sort of warning whatsoever. And it really goes against your client's best interest to do so. Your inspector is going to send over the report that evening. Hopefully, usually it's late, so most of the time you're going to circle back with your clients the following morning. And at that point, you're going to run through everything again, get their okay on what they want to ask for, and send the amendment over. Now you have the amendment put together. You send it over to the listing agent. The listing agent already knows what's going on. They're already prepared for it. And yeah, things generally go really well whenever you do it this way. One important side note are asking for repairs versus asking for a repairs credit. Now, everybody would love to just send over repairs and say, fix all this stuff. The problem with that is that it opens up a lot of subjectivity, and sometimes you'll ask for something to be repaired, but you don't specify exactly how it should be repaired, and you can end up sideways with people. So anytime you can ask for a credit instead of an actual repair, you should ask for a credit instead of an actual repair. At that point, it's in your buyer's control as to how things are fixed. They can choose the vendor and whatnot, and it's just a much better experience for them. So there's lots of gray here, right? Like in everything in business and life, whatnot, there's going to be a lot of gray areas. The inspection process, the inspection negotiation is every bit as important and every bit as tricky as the original purchase negotiation, so you should treat it just as important as the original purchase negotiation. This means that whenever you see something that you're not used to or you've never seen before, reach out to management or go to the Facebook group or 20 of your friends and get second opinions on it. Let's work through things. Something really weird comes through, let's definitely chat through it. You're not alone. You have a lot of support here, and we love helping people through these processes. And every single difficult inspection that you go through, it's going to add to your experience, and it's going to make the next inspection that much easier. Hope that you find value in this. Love to get feedback on this write-up, on this video and whatnot. We're always trying to improve things. And I hope that you have an awesome, awesome day. Thanks so much.